What is your take on the current constitution? Does it allow expropriation of land without compensation?
Commissioner, I do need to be guided in some measure. I would like to answer that question, but I do need to be guided in some measure by the Chief Justice, because I need to be cautious about it, because it's an issue that can come before us. So,
welcome again to another episode of WSXM channel. I don't know. My name is Stefan. Thanks for watching. Thanks for returning, and also thanks for telling a friend to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So, Julius Malema was questioning candidate George Savannah. She was vying for the position of the deputy judge president of the land court, and he was asking her some questions to see if she's qualified. So let's get into the questions she's asking and take a listen. Boom.
Commissioner Malema.
No, thank you very much. Good morning, CJ, and good morning, Judge. Just a follow-up. The CJ asked how many reserve judgments do you have? You said 5. But I saw somewhere there Nadel said 7, so I just wanted to reconcile that.
yes, thank you, Commissioner Malena, and you're quite correct. There is a discrepancy in the comments. The GCB indicated that it was 5 at the time that I submitted my form, and I think it was Nadel pointed to the correct number at that time, which was 7. So that was an error in the GCB's comment, I think. So the correct position was, at the time that I submitted my form, there were 7 reserve judgments. But as I sit here now, none of those are outstanding, and there's only 1 new reserve judgment that's still within the 3-month period.
You cleared them for this purpose?
Sorry?
You cleared them for this purpose?
I always clear my judgments.
Not they were outstanding, not so long ago, and before you come here, they are all cleared.
Well, I'll clear all of my judgments. I will pick up, I have quite a heavy role, and I will be accumulating judgments all the time. So the approach that we need to follow is always to clear our judgments.
I'm tapping the for a quick minute. That I don't have a problem with, because typically anybody who's going for any kind of job interview or looking for an appointment or a candidate for anything, you always make sure you clear up everything, so I could understand where she's coming from. And let's continue.
What is your take on the current constitution? Does it allow expropriation of land without compensation?
Commissioner, I do need to be guided in some measure. I would like to answer that question, but I do need to be guided in some measure by the Chief Justice, because I need to be cautious about it, because it's an issue that can come before us. So the approach I adopted in my first interview was to indicate that I'm comfortable approaching it at a high level, but mindful that before I can ever make a decision on an issue of that sort, I would need to fully hear argument about from both sides, because it is a live issue and it will come before us. Chief Justice, are you comfortable with me proceeding?
Yes, in the same way you did the last time.
All right.
From
Thank
a
you,
high
Chief
level.
Justice. At a high level, yes.
Yeah.
And by prefacing what I say with that, I couldn't decide that without fully hearing argument. So my view, thank you, Commissioner, but it's obviously a very important question that matters to a lot of South Africans. And there are, and it is going to have to be squarely decided by courts in one would hope in the relatively near future. As I see it, there can be no real debate about whether the Constitution properly applied permits of nominal compensation. I can't see how that's debatable, because even if one looks at the factors that are set out expressly in Section 25(3), even just by applying a mathematical formula, for example, if you look at the extent of state subsidy that may have been given to a white farmer in the past, and then you look at market value, or you can easily come up with a calculation that gets you to a zero balance. I think the more difficult debate is whether properly construed, the Constitution permits of 0 as opposed to nominal compensation. And there I've read different arguments, and I don't know the answer. I'd really need to hear argument on it. But I do think that there are, given our history, there are compelling reasons that the Constitution fully embraces why there should be departures from market value compensation.
Actually, that was I like the way she answered the question. It makes sense to me. So yeah, she seems like she'll be a good judge on the land court, but this is just one question she answered. I don't know how she's gonna answer the other questions, but so far not bad. And it was a valid question from Julius Malema, and it was a very good response from Miss Savannah. So let's hear the next question and then hear her response, because it's over time we're gonna see if she's actually qualified for this position, if she will be biased or unbiased because of her race. So let's continue.
So will it be within the
You're
constitution?
you're on a bad question, and the agreement was two per commissioner.
Huh?
The agreement among the commissioners, which it dates back even before I started chairing this body, is that commissioners ask only two questions per commissioner per candidate.
Oh,
Yes.
Judge Mlambo didn't ask 2 questions. I was here. I listened to him. He didn't ask 2 questions. Unless there's some right reserved for other commissioners. I'm prepared to leave this question here, but in reality, if you go back to
JP
check the
Mlambo asked one
record,
question.
JP Mlambo did not ask.
Commissioner
questions.
Malema, we are wasting time debating how many questions to be asked. Just ask your question and keep it as brief as possible. But
Thank
that
you.
does not mean I'll be lenient with other
Thank
commissioners.
you.
Let me stop it there for a minute. You see, this is what they most times they try to do with Julius Malema. They try to antagonize him by holding him to standards they don't hold other commissioners. And as he clearly said, yes, the other commissioner asked more than one question, because I watched the entire JCS. Sometimes they ask more than one questions, but they always try to pinpoint and point out Julius Malema when he's saying, well, others done it, so why are you penalizing me for what others do the same thing? So if you're gonna hold me to this standard, you have to hold the others to the same standard. And then this is when people gonna say, oh, he's combative, but he's not. He's defending his right. For if you see if something goes for one, it goes for all. So that in this case, I will agree with him. But I've seen many people in the comment section was talking about this and saying he's combative. He's about, you see, I don't know why people like to pick on Julius Malema. Every time he goes to a court case, this isn't a court case, this is an interview, but I'm just trying to reference. Every time he has been to court multiple times, and every time he goes to the court, he always won his cases because they always try to manipulate the narrative and to paint him as a disruptor and and someone who is don't follow the laws when he actually do. So anyway, let's continue.
No, I just wanted to ask, will it be unconstitutional to pass a bill which allows the state to be a custodian of the land with the fully land use rights guaranteed, that no one loses anything, the state owns the land, and whatever remains, whatever is on the land remains in the pockets and the hands of those who are using that particular land, like we did with the minerals, and like we did with water. What's your take on that?
Thank you, Commissioner. I have to be I'm aware of the political debate, and I've followed the political debates, which I find, important debates, and they speak to matters that are very important to South Africans. I don't know the answer, and I haven't heard, to be honest, I haven't engaged it in a legal sense. I've thought about it in a political sense. So I haven't, the truthful answer is I haven't sat down and tried to work it out from a legal point of view. But I do think that if one just thinks about it from as one, and I think there may be differences. I'm just not thinking aloud, which perhaps I shouldn't do. The simple answer is I don't know the answer. I think the state can, at least in some cases, be a very useful modality to secure justice as a policy position, but that's just my own sense. I haven't thought through the legalities.
Thank you, CJ.
So I don't like the answer. I'm going to explain why. Because she's saying she's aware of the political debate and the political ramification of the land issue, but she's applying to be the deputy judge president of the land court. So if you're gonna do that, you have to aware and know the law when it comes on to about land and expropriation without compensation. You must. You cannot tell me about. I don't want to hear nothing about political debate or political rhetoric. Your job that you're applying for is for the deputy judge president of the land court, which means you must be familiar with the laws concerning lands and expropriation. And also, government have been expropriating land without compensation to citizens for decades, for centuries. Whenever they want a piece of land and you refuse to sell it or you refuse to move, they expropriate it. Sometimes even literally toss you off your own land and without any compensation. So this has been going on. So why is it when it comes down to returning land to the rightful owner from those stolen back in apartheid days? Why is it so difficult? It's not, but they choose to make it difficult. But so I didn't like the answer from her. Or what I much rather she said that okay, she's aware of the law, she know what the law states, and she know what steps to take if the land issue comes in front of her. When it comes on about expropriation, because you should know about the law, because the position you're high, it's a permanent position, you cannot be fired from it. So I didn't like that at all. So, but apart from that, she might be a good judge, I don't know, but from the answer alone, it kind of strike me as odd. So, let me know what you think about this in the comment section. And anyway, if you agree with um my dissecting this, or do you have your own opinion? And let me know what your opinion is, what your opinion is on this subject. Boom.